Hey everybody, how are you? Come on in for a comfy afternoon of some Christmas crafting. Nothing fancy, we're just gathering around the crafting table and having some chit chat while I give you some ideas for some Christmas crafting and decorating around your home. I've got a cute little project today, you guys, and I think you're going to love it. It's going to tie in with our little Christmas lantern that we made a couple of days ago. We're going to use that today as well and make a real pretty little vignette, all themed around a vintage display of Santa's milk and cookies. So you all come on in here. I apologize, I feel a sneeze coming. I have, all kinds of baking ingredients around me. And I think it's getting my nose. It's tickling my nose. And I do believe I have everything here, but we've got all kinds of stuff scattered out on the table today. I can't wait for y'all to come in and let's craft. Take a break from your Thanksgiving prep if that's what you've been up to today. Love for you to sit down and chat for a little while. Hey, Miss Andrea and Amy, Darlia, Miss Deanie, how are you, sweet friend? How are you, Miss Susan? Happy Thanksgiving Eve to all of you who may be watching this live or today, Thursday or Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Hey, Miss Stephanie, how are you? Good to see all of you all coming in. I didn't know. I know it's just a busy time. I know. And so I didn't know how many would, be able to watch us or join us live today. So that's totally okay. If you're watching on the replay, that's good too. Hey, Miss Delanne. Hey, Miss Vicky and Penny and Miss Darlia. Welcome, you guys. Okay, well, let's just kind of hop into it. I've been wanting to make a Santa's milk and cookies, sort of my little style. Anyway, so that's what we're going to try to do today. I can't make any promises on how it's going to turn out because I kind of have a hodgepodge of pieces here, you guys, a hodgepodge of collection of things, and I think it's going to turn out, but you never know until you kind of get into the thick of it. So that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to do. Hey, Miss Regina, I'm glad you're here too. Hello, Miss Linda and Laura and Mandy. Catherine, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Okay, you guys. So, Starbucks, the Starbucks bottles, the drink bottles, that's what we're using today. That's what we're using. I can't wait to show you. So I grabbed one of these at the Dollar General store today. So my son had a little mocha cappuccino treat earlier today. And I'm so glad, Darlia, you set an alarm so you wouldn't miss it. That's awesome. Thank you all so much for showing up. I appreciate you. Hello, Miss Mary. Catching you while pecan pies are baking. Awesome. So you will tell me what you're baking or cooking today or prepping. On my list to do is homemade cinnamon rolls and broccoli salad and possibly a cheese ball, a bacon stuffed mushroom cheese ball. That's the three things that I'm going to be responsible for for the family dinner tomorrow. Had everyone saving your bottles? Awesome. Well, I thought since this one looks like a vintage milk bottle, I thought this would be perfect. And it was something that it's something that I have easy access to without doing something totally, crazy off the charts. And I thought it would be something easy that you all could get your hands on too, possibly. Hey, Miss Jill. Happy y'all are here. So all I have done is I've given it a coat of just the Waverly plaster color. It's just a off-white, but it's called plaster. Chalk paint, okay? Just gave it a good base coating. I didn't even worry. I did take the labels off, but there was still some sticky residue left under it. But you guys look at what happened. Let's see if you can see. Do you see a little bit of the crackle? I tried to get the light just right. Where the label was, right there, you can see a little bit of it. That's where the label was. Isn't that funny? So if I had tried to crackle that, it would have never done it. It would have never done it. That's how it goes. All right, so I've been looking off and on all day for a label. You guys know how I love these little printable labels. Been looking for a label that kind of was just kind of vintage in style, or maybe not necessarily vintage, but just like maybe some country-ish type look or primitive style look. I couldn't find anything. So I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to whip something together. I'm going to whip something together real quick. So on my phone, I just created one in like 10 or 15 minutes. I came up with this little Milk for Santa label, and I see I've messed that up. The word milk is a little too low, but that's okay. I can adjust it later. I thought I'll just fix me one up. So that's what I did. I just fixed me one up, and that's what we're going to use on this little milk jug. And then for the faux cookies, you guys, we're going to do a little bit of faux baking. I can't wait to show you. And I've already got a batch of them made, so that'll be pretty quick and easy and painless. Made up a couple fresh new batches of coffee grunge today. We're going to whip out the coffee grunge. Yes, we are. And first things first, we're going to take care of this little label. I need to kind of put a little bit of grunge over top of it and then feather tear the edges. You set your alarm, Miss Pat. You're awesome. I'm so glad you're here. I loved watching you and Miss Cindy Lou this morning. They have been doing their early morning show at 6 a.m. Central Time, you guys. My friend Pat from Unique and Cindy Lou from Little Bit of DIY. They're so fun to watch. If you all haven't checked them out, you might want to do that. They are so fun. I'm just taking my coffee grunge and kind of going around the outside perimeter of this first. And that's going to soften my paper enough for it will tear. And then once I get it torn a little bit, I will go over the entire label. I just want a good feathered edge. And I don't even mind if it's just feathered. That's just going to give you that tattered look. You all seen me do this before. If you've followed me for a while, you've seen me do it plenty of times. Sometimes I just like a straight edge. Sometimes I want it feathered. But for today, I'm feeling quite feathery. So that's what we're doing. Hey, Miss Lisa from My Personalized Decor. Nice to meet you. I don't think I've heard of your page before. Happy you're here. Happy you are here. Happy everybody's here today. So we have 142. I was wondering if everyone, I had a feeling people would be kind of busy and tied up today. Didn't know if we'd quite have a crowd like we normally do, but that is okay. Lots of good things going on right now. All right, so you can see, let me show you this. My Mod Podge, I shook it up. Do you see how bubbly and foamy that is on the top? That's totally okay if it does that. Doesn't mean that it's bad. This is a fresh new batch, and it's doing that. If you shake it up, it will make it quite foamy at the top. This is a fresh batch. It has not even been put in the refrigerator yet. I've just whipped up a couple of jars of it today, and it's been sitting on my counter for an hour or two. I knew I would need it. I didn't want to get it cold before I knew I was going to need it. So all I did is I took that coffee grunge and went over the top of that label, and I should have grabbed my dryer. Never fails. I always forget something. That's okay. We'll be all right. We're going to take a little bit of Mod Podge, and the lid was sticking to that. Let me make sure you guys can see what we're doing here. You know what I'm going to do? Well, I've seen me do this before. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you guys something. I'm about out of my instant coffee, and I usually grab this at Walmart. Well, I was at the Dollar General earlier today, and I thought, I'm going to look and see if they have instant coffee. You know what they have? They have instant coffee. Not only do they have instant coffee, it's in a glass jar. You guys, we were just talking about the other day, like things that we could think of that we would use, and then after we're finished with them, we could repurpose the glass jars of them. Can you believe that? And what was so funny is I just picked it up off the shelf, put it in my bag. I checked out, came all the way home, got it out, and when I set it on the counter, it made the noise like a glass jar. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a glass jar. So you know we're going to be using this glass jar eventually. Eventually we are. I'll probably take those instant coffee grains and pour them in this container, and and keep this one for storing it and then use this one for a project. I could not believe that. I thought, I've got to tell them, because I don't know if you guys, I mean, I've never looked for instant coffee at the Dollar General. So I was shocked. All right, I'm going to, how am I going to do this? I'm going to take my measuring cup. I'm trying to think what I need to use what for. All right, I'm going to pour a little bit of Mod Podge in here. And then I'm going to sprinkle my some instant coffee granules in there. I'm going to kind of feather them or dust them, powder them. You know, I kind of crumble in my hands and crumble them a little bit. It kind of helps some of those crystals dissolve. That's definitely not the lid I need. You'll see what I'm doing. My brain's going 40 different directions. I know y'all don't do that, right? Okay. I don't want it super grungy. I want a little bit of a tint, okay? Just a little bit of a tint to my Mod Podge. See what I'm doing there? Just a little bit. A little bit will do us, I think. We might have to add a little bit more, but I've got a lot loaded in this little sponge. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take that Mod Podge. That might be a little too strong. Let's add a little bit more Mod Podge. I don't want it dark. I still want a milky looking bottle. Yeah, I have to tone it down a little bit. I think that'll be a little bit better. Let's see. Let's test it on the bottom. That's still too bright. Or too dark, I mean. All right, there we go. I put too much coffee in there. So if you do this, you'll want to make sure. I just want a milky cream, well, like a cream coffee look. Yeah, that's more like it. Now I've already kind of have a little dark spot right there, but that's where my label's going to go, so that'll be fine. I just want it to look like an old milk bottle, which I don't want it to be super bright white. Okay, and I want that label. Just want to eyeball it, make sure I get it even. That's going to look really cute. And to think I made that label. I kept thinking, oh, I can find something. You know, I just would sometimes rather just buy something off Etsy or something, you know, just for the sake of time. And I thought, I can't find anything what I'm looking for. And this is still not exactly what I'm looking for, but it's better than what I was finding. I just wasn't finding a whole lot of anything that said milk for Santa or anything like that. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Isn't that cute? Oh yeah. And when we grunged it, I had that coffee grunge on the top. It just gives it that old look. I love making new things look old, you guys. Small group having lasagna, Donna. That's a nice non-traditional Thanksgiving dinner. Usually we do the traditional Thanksgiving dinner, but then there's times when we do something non-traditional for Christmas dinner. We typically don't have the full out turkey dinner for Christmas, usually just for Thanksgiving. But for Christmas, I know sometimes at my parents' we do like a fresh prime rib dinner and salad and things like that. And then for my husband's family, when we do a get together, there's tons of us on his side of the family, and we usually order like our favorite small town pizza, and so we get that and just have that way we don't have to fuss about making something. But then we also have a good Christmas dinner as well. We have several get-togethers, but yeah, we do non-traditional Christmas dinners. But for Thanksgiving, we do the traditional turkey. And I don't know about how you guys like your turkey. I was never a huge turkey fan until probably a few years ago, several years ago. We started brining our turkey, soaking it in a brine. And I'm telling you guys, it makes the world of difference. If you've never had a turkey that has been brined before you bake it, you need to try it. You need to try it. Let me know, and I will be happy to share the recipe with you because it is worth it. I'm telling you. And I love turkey that way now, and my kids will like it too. Before, I just was never a fan because it's so dry, and I won't eat turkey any other way now. Okay, so we just did a little bit of that instant coffee in our Mod Podge. We Mod Podged our label on. Easy peasy, right? Everybody can do that. If you would want this label for your own, I could share the free printable with you guys, since I made it, so I would be happy to do that. I don't know the best way to deliver that to you guys yet, so I'll kind of have to work on that in my head for a little bit to figure it out. I missed a spot down here at the bottom. But you can see how that instant coffee, it's giving us a glaze over that chalk paint is what it's doing. It gave us a glaze, and that's going to give us that creamy vintage milk bottle look, okay? It's not super bright white, whereas if we used just some chalk paint, it would be really bright white, okay? We vintagized it. How do you say that? Vintagized it. Sounds like the Energizer Bunny or something. Okay, I kind of need to set this somewhere. Oh well, we're just going to set it right there. I know the bottom's not completely dry, but that's okay. Okay, now let's move on to the cookies. The cookies. So you will have seen, let me show you, the pantry tarts. We've made the pantry tarts before. Let me see if I can grab them with one hand. All right, these little pantry tarts. I even have the recipe for the pantry tarts pinned at the top of my Facebook page, okay? Along with the coffee grounds recipe. It's in the little featured section on the top of my Sweet Home Living Facebook page, okay? And the recipe that we're going to use for the fake cookies today is going to be pretty similar. It's just a tiny bit different with a couple extra additions. But these would even look cute with a little milk for Santa. I mean, you know, Santa will eat anything. You don't have to have just cookies. You could even make him a little Christmas pantry cake if you really wanted to. Oh, you know what? Real quick. I've got to paint this lid, and I was thinking I kind of wanted this lid like I kind of think I want it like a rusty red looking color, and I don't know how I'm going to do that, but we're going to try it real quick because I want that to dry while we're doing our cookie stuff real quick. I'm going to put a little bit of just cheapio red craft paint. Now, you know, that's like super super red. Now, I've got to dingy it up. Okay, you all know how we're going to do that, right? Where'd it go? We're going to sprinkle some instant coffee in it. Love this instant coffee, guys. I'm finding so many uses for it. The coffee grunge, add it to the Mod Podge, make a glaze, adding it to my paint. I want to really grunge up that color. I don't want a super bright red. I want it to match my label. So that's what we got to do. I'm going to use my same little paintbrush that I had dipped in my coffee grunge, and I'm going to kind of mix that together. I need that coffee to kind of dissolve in there to see how much I need. I don't want the paint super watery. If I needed to thin down my paint, I could add my liquid coffee grunge mix to it, and that would help. But I kind of need the thickness, so I'm just going to add this grunge, or the instant coffee, to my paint. Yes, okay. It's starting to get a little bit of a grungy color. It's going to be a good brownish red, which is kind of what I need, because I need it to match the label. I want the lid of this Christmas milk jar to I want it to stand out. I don't know. Usually I kind of grunge up the lid, rust it up a little bit, but this time I'm going for a little bit different look. I think that's nice. I like that. I had went ahead and gave it just a base coat of white chalk paint. At the same time I gave the bottle the coating of white chalk paint so that we would be ready to go for today. All right. Now, while that is wet, I am going to sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon. I should have brought some paper towels or something to the table here. All right, I'm going to sprinkle a little. Whoa, I do that every time. I do that every time. Oh, goodness. All right, let's slide this over. I like dumped the cinnamon a little bit too much, but that's okay. The extra will float off later. I just don't want to pick it up because the edges of that are still wet. Okay. Just sprinkle it on until your heart's content. Now, I think I still need a little bit more on there. I'm going to have to touch it. Just do it. Just do it. Where'd my little paintbrush go? I should have done this step before I set it down. That's what I should have done. Okay. Now, I want this lid to look like a red lid that has rusted. So that's the look we're going for. We're going to let that dry while we work on our cookies. All right, that's what we have right now. Now that cinnamon is powdery. What soaks in, we will let it soak in. We'll put a little bit of Mod Podge on top of it after that has a chance to dry, okay? All right, my hands are gonna get good and dirty today. That means we're having fun. All right, let's slide this out of the way. Now let's work on the cookies. All right, the cookies, you guys. We're gonna need 2 cups of flour. I've got a whole bowl full of fun stuff. Didn't know we were gonna be baking today, did ya? Okay, 2 cups of flour. This is my crafting bag of flour. 2 cups of flour. All right, here we go. We're going in. 1 and 2. All right. Easy so far, right? So easy. Then we're going to need a cup of salt. Where's my salt? Any cheap. Don't go expensive on any of these ingredients, you guys. Cheap, cheap, cheap. The cheapest you can find. You need a full cup of salt. In fact, I just grabbed the cheapest salt I could find for this project. It was like, I think it was like 59 cents or something. I was like, oh, salt's still that cheap? I don't usually buy this kind of table salt for like my kitchen. I usually buy like something a little bit different, like the pink Himalayan salt or something like that, or sea salt. There we go, full cup. So we have 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of salt. Now, the next thing we're going to need is about a cup of water. Now, you can add a cup of water. Here's what I would do. I would take a half a cup, and I'm just going to use my dry measuring cup for this because it doesn't have to be exact, you guys. If I was really worried about it, I could use the liquid measuring cup for that. Let me give this a good shake because I know some of my cinnamon has kind of settled at the bottom. Give it a good shake. I'm going to first add a half a cup, okay? I probably can guarantee you that's probably not going to be enough, but I'm going to start with a half a cup, and I'll work my way up to a cup. Once I kind of start mixing it together and seeing kind of what the consistency looks like, I'll have a better idea of if I need a full cup or not. All right. Now, the next thing I need my cinnamon go. I used clove a second ago. Did I really? No, surely I didn't. No, I set it over here. I thought I would have known the smell of that. All right, we're going to need a 1/4 cup of cinnamon. You can use a little bit less than a 1/4 cup because your coffee Grinch mix already has quite a bit of cinnamon in it. So I'm only going to use probably like 1/8 cup, but you do you, okay? All right, set the cinnamon aside. Then we're going to add some clove, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of clove. It's going to give us that good gingerbread smell. We're going to make some faux gingerbread cookies for our Santa. All right. And then, oh, I added way too much clove, you guys. That was only supposed to be 2 teaspoons. Oh, well. Oh, well. I guess I didn't bring my ginger. I was supposed to add 1 tablespoon of ginger and 2 teaspoons of clove. Oh, well. You know, it's going to smell amazing anyway. We're going to go with it. You don't have to have it exact by any means. All right, just kind of go with that. But you do need like your 2 cups of flour and your cup of salt, and then about a half to a cup of water. Everything else that you add, the cinnamon, the allspice, the ginger, everything like that is kind of up to you. But you need something dark. So that's where I went with the coffee grunge, and that's why I went with the cinnamon, because that's going to give us our dark color to give us that gingerbread cookie color. If you just went with the salt and the flour, that would just be a plain white salt dough mix, and that's not going to give you the gingerbread color. All right, so I'm stirring this up, and I'm going to be looking for a Play-Doh-ish type consistency. And so I added a half a cup first, and I'm gonna go ahead and add another half a cup because I can tell it's going to need it. So right now we have a full cup of liquid. You can use water or you can use the coffee grunge. Totally up to you. If you have some coffee grunge that you've had hanging on to for a while and you need to go ahead and use it up, it'd be a great time to just use it up. And if not, just use water. That is fine too. We're going to need more than that, I believe. This is where I usually get my hands into it. Let me set my rings back here because I don't want I don't want this dough to get in my rings for sure. All right, we're going to get messy, you guys. This is where I should have brought the paper towels. All right, I'm looking for that Play-Doh consistency, and a lot of times you can't tell for sure until you kind of get your hands down in it. This is still really too crumbly. It's some of it's wanting to stick together, but it's still crumbling apart. I need more liquid, okay? So we already have a cup. I'm probably going to add another half a cup. So start with a half a cup and work your way up, because like I said, sometimes it doesn't take this much. I made a batch earlier and I probably used a cup and it was good. So you know how it goes. I could have added a little bit more flour this time or something. I don't measure exactly, you know, just kind of scoop and dump. So, all right, if you want this recipe, let me know. Or you can simply follow the same recipe that I have pinned at the top of my page for the pantry cakes, except for add some ginger and some clove, okay? Because you want that gingerbread smell. Now, these are going to make some adorable faux cookies, but these can also serve as Christmas tree ornaments, okay? You'll just want to, before you bake them in the oven, you'll want to use like a little skewer stick or toothpick and make a little hole at the top of your cutouts, and that will help you be able to string them for ornaments later. And they smell amazing. They smell absolutely amazing. If you've made the coffee grunge and you love the smell of that, this is even better. This is even better. Okay, I'm starting to get that Play-Doh consistency. See, it's starting to clump together. I still have quite a bit of dryness, but I'm going to work it for another minute or two until I can tell for sure if I have enough moisture in there to dampen the rest of that salt and flour. And I think we might. You don't want it too wet, because if you get it too wet, it will stick to your hands. If it sticks to your hands, then you need to add some more flour and a little bit of salt. But if it's clumpy and flaking everywhere, then you need more moisture. All right, yeah, this is working good. You just work it for a little bit, see how it's starting to absorb all the dry ingredients, and it's like a Play-Doh consistency. This is what you need. All right, so I'm gonna set my bowl to the side. Let's set it over here. And what you're gonna do now is exactly what you would do if you were making some real gingerbread cookies. Now, these smell incredibly edible, but they're not. They are not. Hey, Miss Angie, you want the recipe? Okay, well, if you want this specific recipe, I'll have to type it up and I'll post it at the top of my page later. But you can use the pantry tart recipe that's at the top of my page as well. Just add some clove and some ginger. And you'll want 2 teaspoons of clove and a tablespoon of ginger. All right. So let me slide this milk jug out of the way while it's drying, and our little lid here, and just slide it over because we're going to roll these cookies out when we're actually going to cut them out. Now I need, just as if I was doing this on my kitchen counter, I need a little bit of flour so that it doesn't stick. I'm going to go ahead and coat my hands because I will need to do that to my rolling pin as well. All right. Now I'm going to take that little loaf of dough. Now, it's going to be really floury, and that's okay. I'm okay with that because I've got plans for it later. I'm going to get rid of that. But for now, I just need to roll it out. I'm probably going to go for like 1/4 of an inch or to 1/2 inch thick. I want these to be good, thick, fake cookies. Okay, I want them to have some size to them. We don't do wimpy Christmas cookies around here for Santa. Okay, Miss Roxanne, I'll be happy to share this specific recipe with you later. And I can repeat it if you want to write it down as well. It's totally up to you. Let me make some room here because I'm running out of side room to roll this out properly on this little table here. All right. I'm just trying to thin it down some. Now this is where you're going to get your cookie cutters. So if you have some really cute Christmas cookie cutter shapes, you can go with those. I have some vintage cookie cutters that I've been wanting to use for this. So I have a star, I have a heart, I have a little gingerbread, and then I thought I would also use a little circle one and make some like faux peanut butter cookies, you know, with the little crisscrossed hatch design on it. So let me show you what I did with these this morning. This is my first batch. I'm trying to find one that's not, okay. I used my star cookie cutter to cut these out, okay? Now, see, the flour is really heavy on this because that just kind of keeps them from sticking. So what I'm going to do, I need another paintbrush, don't I? Yep, and I have to call for backup. Hey, Gracie, can you come help me for a second? I'm going to use my coffee grunge. I need, in that bottom drawer, where you at? In that bottom drawer over there, there's some little sponge brushes. Can you grab me one, please? Or any little paintbrush will work. I'm just going to coat these with a little bit of the coffee grunge, and that's going to take away that dusty flour look. But these smell amazing. Thank you. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of that coffee grunge and dust over it. And that brings back that really yummy gingerbread color. And I love those little cookie cutters because they have the little scalloped edges. They're so cute. Now I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna put it on super heavy. I just want enough to kind of dampen the top of it, you know, and the sides. If I go really heavy, it's gonna wet my dough down again and it's gonna get soft and mushy. But there we go. Doesn't that look like a yummy gingerbread cookie? Now, what I would do, now that's the back side where the flour is. I can go ahead and do that too. Just to get rid of that flour. I should have brushed off the excess before I put this on there, but oh well. All right, so then you would let this dry a little bit and then give it a coating of some Mod Podge, okay? And then that's gonna seal it in and will also kind of help give them a little bit of a sheen. Not a lot, but a little bit, just enough like a gingerbread cookie. Now, if you want to decorate these, you totally could. I'm not going to, because I want that rustic primitive style. So I think decorating, for me, decorating these would be a little too much of a, I don't know, a different style is what I guess I'm trying to go with. So now I wanted to try something, and we can here in just a little bit. Now some of these cookies, like the dough kind of gets wrinkled and cracked. They will not rise when you put them in the oven. So how you put them in the oven is how they're going to look when you pull them out, only they're just going to be drier and harder, right? So if you don't like the wrinkles, the cricks, the crevices in the top, what you can do is just wet your finger a little bit, and I'll show you with one here in just a second. Wet your finger just a little bit and smooth it down. So let's cut one of these out and let me show you. Let's do one of the peanut butter ones that I was going to do. All right, I'm just going to use a circle. This is like a biscuit cutter. All right, I'm just going to take it and going to go straight down right here. All right, let me punch this out. Now this is what it looks like right now. See, it has the creases, the little cracks on it right now. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't have any water right at reach here, so I'm going to take a little bit of this coffee grunge and use it as my water, and I'm going to smooth out those little cracks and crevices, and that will give you a more smoother look to your cookie if you really want that smooth look at the top. Okay, now if I go too wet, it's going to smooth down my little scalloped edge, and I don't want it to do that. So what I'm going to do next, I have a whole cookie sheet over here lined up with with cookies that I did earlier. So we're going to dress these little cookies up here in just about 2 seconds. After I get it cleaned off, we'll put this cookie down, and let me show you. I brought a fork over because I want to do the little crisscross little peanut butter look to this little cookie. Okay, so I'm just going to take my fork and go make indentions down one direction. I probably need to do them a little deeper. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to just crisscross. All right, so there's our one little peanut butter cookie. But I would make a whole little batch of those. I did not do those the first round though, but I think that's what I'm going to do with this next batch. I'm going to make them some little peanut butter cookies, faux peanut butter cookies. But they're really not going to smell like peanut butter. They're going to smell like gingerbread. So let me get these cut out real quick, since I already have these spread out right here. So cut out your shapes. Now these are pretty thick. That one's it's pretty thick. I would probably go a little bit thinner. The thicker your cookie is, the longer you're going to have to bake it. So I put these in this morning. I made a batch, and you can see the thickness of mine. These have already been baked. I'm thinking they're probably like a 1/2 inch. No, they're in between 1/4 and 1/2 probably. I put them in a 250-degree oven, and I put them in there for an hour. I set my timer for an hour. When the timer went off, I flipped them over. Okay, you want to be a little bit gentle, because sometimes they can stick. If they're not all the way dry, they'll be a little bit stuck to the pan, so just be careful. Flip them over. Whoops, that one didn't want to come out. Flip them over, and then what I did is I left them in there for about 20 more minutes, and then I turned the oven off. Okay, I didn't take them out. I left them in the oven, but just turned the oven off so that it would start to slowly cool down. And I left them in there for another full hour, okay, with the oven off. So they were in for an hour and 20 minutes with the oven on, and then another hour with the oven off, okay. And they worked out perfect. They're dry. Now, if you go a little bit thicker, it's going to take longer, or if they're thinner, obviously it's going to be much faster. But if you cook them too fast, they can burn, or leave them in too long, they can burn. All right, now I've cut out all my shapes, so I still have some dough, so you can roll this back up and roll it back out, and punch out some more. All right, so I'm not going to do that right now though. I'm going to roll this up, Now, if you do this, it might be a little too dry at this point. You might have to add just a little bit more moisture to it. Make a little well, pour a little bit of your coffee grounds in there, and then redistribute some more moisture back through there, and then you've got another dough ball that you can cut out some more shapes with. Oh, my nose. I think I have flour on my nose. All right, so real quick with these, I need to dampen these up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay them out. I'm just going to lay them out in a row. I have some little gingerbread men. I thought these are just something classic. Little gingerbread men. I've made 6 of each. And I'm going to have 6 of the peanut butter ones, shaped cookies too. So that'll work out good if you're kind of particular about your numbers. Keep that in mind. Okay, so we've already done... Okay, I started saying, do I have enough? Okay, here's another idea I had. And I'm going to try this with you guys. One of these little star-shaped cookie cutouts, I cut out when this was halfway done. When I flipped them at the hour point, I flipped them and then I cut out a little star shape on this one. And I'm going to try something here in just a minute to see if something works. We're going to fill that with a little bit of some Mod Podge and red paint and see if we can't make that look like a I don't know what the word is, sort of like a little thumbprint cookie, but a little bit different spin on it. All right, so I'm going to line these up, and all I'm going to do is just take my coffee grunge, and I'm going to go over these real quick. And this will take away that dry floured look, and you can do this same thing. If you've made pantry cakes before and they get dried out, over time they'll do that. They'll lighten up in color. Just take your coffee grunge and freshen them up. How easy and quick that is. Just makes them look like they were fresh out of the oven again. All right. You could just dab it on. Now these little gingerbread cookies, they look a little rough. I should have smoothed them down before I put them in the oven. I was just in a hurry and didn't do that. So they've got some tiny little cracks on them. This one's a little bit better, so I'll probably put it on top. My other ones that have a little bit of cracks and crevices on them, I'll probably put them on the bottom of my stack where they're not quite as visible. So take note of that. If you're doing yours, you'll want to do that little water trick and smooth it down before you put it in the oven. They do not rise, they don't get puffy or anything. So like I said, the size that you put them in the oven will be the size that they will finish as. So, you know, like sometimes regular cookies will expand and rise or get puffy, or sometimes they'll even double in size, but these do not. Now, can you see the difference with the ones I've done and the ones that are dry? Yes. Now this coffee grunge will dry a little bit lighter than what it looks like when it's damp, but it just freshens up that ginger color, that gingerbread color. Now, do you all remember the little can light that we did? I should have pulled that over here today. The little can light that we did, it was a little can light shadow box. It had the little gingerbread, I think it said Mrs. Claus's gingerbread baking. What did it say? Mrs. Claus's gingerbread bakery. I'm looking at it. It's over here on my side table. That would look super cute with these in a little vignette. Absolutely adorable. But I'm going to place this with our little our punch tin lamp that we made a couple of days ago. It says Christmas baking on it, so I think it'll still work just fine. And then we'll put our milk glass, little milk glass right beside these, and we'll have a little vintage Santa milk and cookies display. All right, let me see who's on here. Hey, Miss Deanie, my personalized deck. Oh, yes, I will seal these with Mod Podge. Is that what you're asking? Yes, after these completely dry, I will seal them with a very thin layer of Mod Podge, or you can just use some spray matte sealer. It's whatever you have, you guys. Whatever works for you. I will probably let these dry and see what they look like, and decide from there. If I feel like they need a little bit of shine to them, I'll probably use the Mod Podge. If I don't want them to have any shine, I'll probably use the matte sealer, the spray matte sealer. Okay, now I'm getting to the bottom of this jar of coffee grounds. You guys, did you see how fast we went through that bottle? That jar, that's one batch of coffee grounds, and you can go through it pretty quick. But if you don't go through it, store it in your fridge, and pull it out and reheat it before you're ready to use it the next time. All right, we got 2 more hearts to go. I'm getting to the bottom of this, and I wanted to show you guys because I've had many people ask me this. Do you see that goopiness? That's the cinnamon and vanilla that kind of gets settled at the bottom. So I don't have a whole lot of moisture left in this one, but it's okay if it looks that way. There's nothing wrong with it. I probably should just kind of keep shaking it a little more often than I haven't been doing that while I've been on here live. So now, if you wanted to make these a little sparkly, once you add your Mod Podge, you could sprinkle them with a little bit of diamond dust, give them a little bit of a sugared look. You could totally do that. And if you wanted to decorate them, just like a real gingerbread, if you want to add a little bit of design, you could use some puff paint and do that. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. And it won't take very long because it's going to soak right into those cookies. I need to dust off my hands a little bit before I start touching them. Okay, now with these, here's what I'm thinking about doing with these. Let me pull these off because I have so much flour here, and I'm just going to keep getting flour on top of these cookies that I just grunged. So let's pull these off. That way we can roll this flour out of the way. Let's get the cookie cutters out of the way. We still have this cookie right here that I wanted to experiment with. We'll see if we get to that today. Okay, I made a big batch of cookies, you guys. Faux cookies. Now, I made all these faux cookies, and my kids are going to be asking for the real thing later. Okay. Roll that flour up, and let's set it out of the way. Okay. Oh, my goodness. I need one of those little table vacuums. Cinnamon and flour. All right. Slide them all back toward the center. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably pick my prettiest cookie out of each design. And I'm going to place it, I'm going to use it for the top. My hearts all did pretty good. I think they were the first ones I made. So for them, I'm just going to start stacking them. And you could do this any way you want. You don't have to stack them. And I may decide that I don't like them stacked. I don't know. This is just what my brain was thinking to begin with. We'll see how it goes. Now I'm going to be short. I got a little bit of flour back on that one. Just dab it with that coffee grounds again. Okay. Now, the little gingerbread men, I do have some that need to go on the bottom there because some of them got a little wonky on me. Now, I don't know if I'm going to want all these in a stack. I'm just kind of going with what I think first, and I can go and kind of come back and adjust it later. Ooh, that had a lot of flour on the bottom of it. I'm just shaking the bottom of that off. That had a lot. I don't know how that got so much on there. All right. So now what I'm going to do, where did it go? Where did it go? I have a bag. Here, right here beside me. I have a bag of some little ties, okay? These are just fabric strips that I've grunged. And I think what I want to do is I think I want to take these and tie them up like a little package almost. Okay. I don't know if the stars are going to quite work. Let's see. Wrap them around that way. And then, I don't know, you kind of fuss with it and see what you think. I wanted that string going around all the sides, but I don't think I'm going to be able to reach. Yeah, you can. I should have. All right, I'm just going to make a little knot at the bottom, and then we'll dress it up at the top. How about that? I'm not worried about these sitting totally flat if I make this knot on the bottom, because that's going to prevent them from sitting flat, probably, unless I'm really good at making that knot flat. Actually, that's not too bad. All right, now the top is kind of hideous. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take, where'd my scissors go? Right there, beside me. Again. I'm going to take another little string here, and I'm going to tie these together a little better, and that'll kind of hide the wonkiness at the top. Now, I would probably recommend that you let these dry before you stack them together, and I don't have that time, so I'm just going to tie them together like that. I probably need to work on that a little bit better, but that's first little stack. Aren't those cute? All right, now do something similar with your hearts. I see that my hearts were a little they're not quite even. That's okay. I think it makes them cute. So I think what I'm going to do for these, I'm going to tie this way, and then I'm going to take another one, and I'm going to go from top to bottom and see if I can't tie it that way. With that star, I've got an uneven number of edges there, so that kind of makes them a little different. But yeah, this is cute. Okay, tie this together, knot that down. I'm not going to tie it in a bow. I just want some little rags, little rag bow ends. Isn't that cute? We got our little hearts, little heart gingerbreads. Now, if you wanted to leave these totally separate and just kind of scatter them out, it really kind of just depends on what you have to work with. I'm trying to think, I think what I'm going to do, I want to tie in our little lamp. Before I tie my gingerbreads together, I'm going to kind of see how I want to do these. I may kind of change my mind. How's my lid coming along here? It's still a little wet. Still a little wet. I need my dryer. My bottle is pretty much dry though. Ooh, blowing off that cinnamon. Okay. Get that dusty look off, and I still have the rusty color. Okay. Yeah, it's still a little tacky. All right, let's let that sit for a minute longer. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I have a wooden bowl. Well, it's not really a bowl. It's like a tray. I'm thinking I could either use this. I'm trying to slide this over where you guys can see it. My camera is backwards, so hang on a second. Let me resituate some things here. There we go. So here's our little lamp. And of course we need to plug this in case you guys missed this video the other day. You will want to go back and watch it. I promise you. It's the cutest little lamp, and this extension cord is giving me fits all day today. So we're not going to use that one. We're going to use this extension cord back here. Hang with me here. This extension cord, I need to get a new one. That one is just giving me fits for like the last week. So let me unplug these little jars. There we go. Bring this around. We're going to plug this in. We've got to light it up. All right. So this little jar that we made, let me give you a close-up in case you missed it. We used a pickle jar, a little Clausen pickle jar. We used a Christmas baking label. See that? Ooh, this way. There we go. Christmas baking. We added some lights in the bottom. We added the coffee stained cheesecloth, some pip berries, and a little rag bow, and then this lampshade. This was the star of the show. If you missed this, you missed it. You missed it. We got this it's on sale right now, $15 on Amazon. If you go back to my last video on my Facebook page, you will find the link for this lampshade. It's in my video description from the last video, the previous video. It's on sale right now for $15. You can't find these anywhere for $15, you guys. And so I used a little, I used an electric taper candle. Now I had some questions. Can I use a battery operated taper candle? You could. Here's my thing about that though. The battery or the battery taper candles are not going to be bright enough to shine through your lampshade. You want a decent amount of light coming through, and you won't get that with a battery one, okay? Not to mention you also need something that has a little bit bigger of a bulb. This bulb does not get super hot. I think this is like a 4-watt or a 7-watt. But it does not get super hot, but it's big enough that it will go in the clasp of your lampshade. Okay, so that's why you want an electric candle bulb. And I did go ahead and secure that candle light with some permanent glue down in the bottom. We did put some string lights down in the jar so that it lights up as well. All I did with the cords, I tied them down really tight and snug to the back of my jar, and they come out the back. Okay, I'm probably going to use this somewhere in my kitchen or on a table, and I'll just make sure that I set it somewhere where the cords come out the back, and that's just how I'll do it. All right, now the only thing I don't know how I want to do this is I don't know what I want to put in the base of this. I know I want my cookies to show up, so I thought, well, I need a lighter colored, like a little towel, like a little tea towel or a napkin or something like that in the bottom. So that's kind of why I went with this white color. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. So what I'm probably going to do along with these, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I don't know if I'm going to like this or not, so we may change it up. I'm going to throw in a few little pine cones. And you could use potpourri if you have something that kind of matches along with the color scheme. I just kind of want it to look natural. And then, let's see. I have some little greenery picks that I think would look cute. I'm just working this out in my head, you guys. I don't know if it's going to stay this way or not. I always like to tie in some greenery somewhere. All right, let's check this lid. I think it's good enough. I can go ahead and tie it. I can go ahead and put it on maybe without it. I don't want to. Oh my goodness, I'm going to touch it and I'm going to pull the paint off of it. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do at the top of that, where's my red strands? Everything's everywhere. Here we go. I need one of these that's a little bit longer. I'm going to tie this around the top a couple of times, and this will kind of help tie in the little rag bows that are on the cookie stacks. Let me turn this around so I can see it. I guess. And I can tell you, I need to put that lid down there. It's going to bug me, but I can't twist it down far enough right now because it's still a little damp. So right now it's going to be a little crooked. I'm just going to tie this in a little knot. And I can tell you, this fabric did not stain dark enough for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my coffee grunge sponge here, and I'm just going to dab it, because I do want it to look a little bit darker than it does. Okay. Yikes. My fingers are wanting to stick to that label. I don't want to ruin it. All right, hang on. Let me get a little bit more of this grunge on my brush here. I've had some of you ask me, so do you soak your fabric in the coffee grunge or just plain coffee, or how do you do it? Well, I've done it different ways, you guys. Most of the time, I will tell you, if I'm doing a large batch, all I do is I take my fabric and I put it down in a big pot of warm water, and I just dump a lot of instant coffee granules in it, okay, and let it sit. And that's what I did with this. I probably didn't put enough instant coffee in this batch, which is why it's not dark enough for me. So, and then if it's not dark enough for you, and take it out, let it dry, you can soak it again, repeat the process, and it'll darken it up for you as many times as you want until you get it dark enough. Or you can, if it's just small little pieces and I don't want to do a big batch, I have just taken that sponge brush and done exactly what I just did. I take it and I'm just going to have to touch this, you guys. If the paint comes off, I'll just touch it up. Okay, now I got paint on my hands, but it surprisingly didn't take too much off there. All right, I don't want to touch the bottle with those fingers though. Ugh. All right, so that's what we have right now for the milk bottle. Is that not adorable? We've got a little thread hanging. Okay, now let me make sure the bottom of this is dry. Yes, it is. Ugh, my fingers. I'm going to stick this in somewhere. Let's see. Let's see. I kind of want it. Let me turn this around so I can see it from the front a little bit to see what we need here. I need some different heights. I want my Santa to show on my bottle. Yeah, so let's tilt it. Let's tilt it a little bit. And if I don't have anything to lean it back against, I'm going to use this little bit of greenery back here to do that. I'm going to bend. Let me move this little lamp for a second. I'm going to bend that greenery up so that it kind of holds on to that little milk jug. We're just building a little cradle for it is what we're doing. Okay, I'm going to tuck some of these little pine cones in over here. I don't want like empty spaces around my milk jug or my cookies. I kind of want to fill it in. Okay, now what I can do, I have some little greenery picks like this, just some little picks that I have cut off of like a big pick like that, and I'll just take it and I'll kind of stuff it in some empty spots. Do you see how I'm doing that right there? I'm trying to get this where you can see it a little bit better. It's over here that I need to move it to. The comments are kind of covering it up. Swipe your comments over for sure if you need to. My wire cutters, I don't have them over here. I have carried stuff all over this house today. All over. I don't want to ruin my good scissors either. They won't tear. All right. We're just going to do what we can with it. We're going to spread it apart like that. And let's bend this stick around. We can make this work. Wire cutters or no wire cutters, we'll make it work. All right, so I'm going to kind of set this back. I'm going to take this greenery pick out for just a minute. This is going to be my background, okay? It's going to be my background. I'm going to place this one back where it was on top of the other piece of greenery now. I'm just going to kind of fuss with it a little bit. I'm going to pull one of these little greenery picks up so that it kind of fills that empty space right there. I need to tuck this down in there a little bit so it holds my milk jug. I'm just going to bend that greenery around so that it holds my little milk jar. I keep saying jug, don't I? It's not a jug. Milk jar. We'll put our little candle lamp right back in there, and then I think what I can do, I can fill in around my lamp now. Okay. So I've got a little stack of cookies here, a little stack of cookies there. I'm going to have another stack of peanut butter cookies after they bake. But let's see. You know what else I think we can use? We can use a little bit of Excelsior to fill in some of those empty spots. Some Excelsior and pine cones. Okay. That's what I might also do behind this jar. That'll kind of help hold it up too, you guys. And just feather it out. It's a good filler. Good filler. Okay, let me cut a little bit more. And then let's see, I kind of want it in the back over here on the side. I'm going to pick this up so you can see it from eye level in just about 2 seconds. I want a little bit right down in here. behind this little stack of cookies. It just kind of fills it in. Oh, I love it. All right, where'd my little pine cones go again? Over here. And I have some cinnamon sticks. We'll sprinkle those in there too here in just a minute. But I want to make sure that these little cookie stacks definitely get seen. So I might have to kind of build them up a little bit with that little Excelsior bundles. That might be a good idea, just to kind of build them up. Let's do that. Let's put a little stack of Excelsior right under those. Oh my gosh, that's cute. Okay, now on this end over here, real quick, I still got some gingerbread cookies, some little gingerbread men that I need to tuck in there. I'm going to fill the rest of that with some. Okay. I think my little gingerbread cookies are going to go, the little gingerbread men are going to kind of go right here on the side. Okay. Woo, the greenery's sticking to me. I've got one more sprig of greenery that I'm going to kind of tuck in over here, I believe. I don't want it to look off balance. Okay, now our little gingerbread guys. Let's see. Do we want to tie them up? Or should we just scatter them? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Let me turn... I'm getting hung. Let me turn this around so I can kind of see. Oh, this is so cute. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave those loose. And let's get some cinnamon sticks. This is going to be Santa's little cookie tray. How cute. Add some cinnamon sticks over here on the side. If you wanted to tie these together in little bundles, that would be darling. I'm just going to kind of stick them in. I'm just going to kind of stick them in probably 3 different places. We'll see. Some right there. Oh, yes. Okay. We're getting there. And then I'm going to hold this up to you where you guys can see this. And then I'll need some kind of coming out in this direction on the end. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Okay, I think a few more pine cones down here at the bottom, because that will also kind of help prop up some of those gingerbread men. Use little fillers to prop up your items. That's the best thing you can do. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be able to see them all, but it will help make your other items a little more visible. Tuck those those are so cute. Okay, so now one more thing I want to add to this. I want to add some red berries, some pip berries. So I've got a little vine of pip berries here. I grabbed this at Hobby Lobby, you guys. I'm sure you can find it multiple places, okay? I don't know if I want to cut this or if I just kind of want to loop it. Oop, I hit my little lampshade. It's a little crooked now. Sometimes it doesn't want to sit on there just quite right. Give it a little spin and it'll straighten out. Okay, I think I'm just going to kind of tuck this in. And I'm going to weave it through. That's going to give me a little wispy look. Okay. Oh, this is so cute. Oh my gosh, this is turning out better than I thought. Okay. Wrapping those around. And then I have my peanut butter cookies. I don't know what I'm going to do with those when they're finished. We'll have to tuck them in somewhere. Now this little, I think I need to add a little something back there. You know what else would look really cute? I'm going to stick a little cookie cutter back here for right now to kind of hold that up. The little cookie cutters that we used to cut out the cookies with, those would look really cute tucked in there too. A whole little cookie themed tray, you guys. Let's see, where can we put this little star? I don't want to hide those little cinnamon sticks right there. I might have to go down here at this end. It'll just be a little more subtly seen. And then this one, this little gingerbread, it wasn't a vintage cutter, so it's kind of too shiny for me. But let me pick this up and show you guys. Let me grab the cords because I don't want to pick that up and my lamp go falling. But is that not the cutest little display? I'm just going to spin it now. The back side you're not going to see because I'm going to set it on my counter, I think. But is that not cute? Not your typical Santa's milk and cookies, okay? Not your typical Santa milk and cookies. Very more rustic and country style, I think. Now, those little gingerbread men, I'm still going to have to look at those and see if I don't want to tie those up in a little stack. I'm not quite for sure. But you know what I wanted to try? This little star cookie. I wanted to see if I could make like a little jelly filling for this little cookie. And I'm trying to look and see what I've got laying around. What I think I'm going to do, this is just an experiment. This is like a, bonus material here. I am going to wet it. Am I going to wet it? No, I'm not going to wet it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Mod Podge and I'm going to seal it first, okay? Now, it's going to look really white because this Mod Podge, when it's wet, it's white. So, but when it dries, it's going to be clear. It has a little bit of instant coffee in it, but you don't have to do that. It's just what I have sitting here on my table. And I want to seal it, especially inside that little cutout area that I have, okay? We're going to see if this works. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Miss Mary. I'm so excited that y'all were here today. I love this little display. I'm going to have to get a really good picture for you guys, or maybe a little video to show you really how this turned out. I love this little milk jug, this little milk jar, how that turned out. We just used a Starbucks coffee that you can get anywhere, guys. So I'm going to seal that, and I'm going to do a little bit of a treatment on the inside of that star. It's not going to be dry. I should have had another one. Whoop. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a little piece of this cardboard and I'm going to glue that to the back. I don't have my hot glue. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this, you guys. I don't have my hot glue on. It was just a thought. It's kind of an afterthought. After I kind of got into the depths of everything today, I was like, oh, I want to try that. So let me see here. I need to put a little piece of cardboard on the back of this cookie. Okay. And that's going to kind of seal off my little shape. So you want to make sure that your shape is completely covered and sealed off. So if you cut a little piece of cardboard on the back, Mod Podge that on, or I don't know. Hot glue would probably work. Ooh, if you went all the way around it, made around the star shape itself, because really what this is going to do is it's going to kind of seal it off. We're going to pour some Mod Podge and some that red grungy paint that we had. We're going to pour that down in the center of this cookie. And it's going to make it, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to turn out. I'll do it, and then I'll take a picture of it. If it turns out, I'll take a picture of it. If not, if you don't ever see a picture of it, you'll know, oops, that didn't work. So I want that little piece of cardboard to dry on there. Let me put it, I have a piece of parchment paper. Yes, hang on, let me grab a piece. I don't want to put it on something that it's going to stick to. This will work. Okay, so I've got that piece of cardboard on the back. Okay, it's just a piece of white cardboard. You could use cardstock, whatever. Now, I would probably let that Mod Podge dry, but I don't have time for that. So this paint that we used earlier, we have just cheap red paint, okay? And you know what? I bet hot glue would probably work better for this. Yep. I'm going to mix some hot glue Come on, let me think about this. I'm thinking. No, I'm going to pour my paint straight into that little star shape, that little star cutout, okay? I'm going to pour the paint right in that little star cutout. When it dries, I'm going to go over it again with Mod Podge, and it's going to make this paint look glossy like a little gel filling. I'm thinking. I don't know. This is an experiment, okay? So, like I said, if it turns out, I will share a photo with you and let you know how it turns out. Right now I'm going to be really careful and just pour this leftover paint down into that star shape. And I'm probably going to let it sit probably overnight. And if that paint doesn't completely fill my star shape, before it starts drying, I'll take like a toothpick and maneuver it around a little bit, because I definitely want to make sure that the star shape is visible. I might just be able to tilt it a little bit. Oh yeah, okay. This is going to look really cute, you guys. Hang on, I might be able to show you a little bit right now what it's going to look like. I need something here. I have a little bit of a corner here that I want those pointed tips of that star to really be visible. Okay, this is going to be cute. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Is that not going to be cute? I'm going to let that dry. What I might do right now while it's still a little bit wet, I think I'm going to sprinkle it a little bit with some cinnamon on the cookie part with that Mod. It's going to mix in with that Mod Podge just to kind of, oh, this is going to be cute. I think it's going to work. Okay, I'm just going to let that sit. I'm just going to let that sit tonight. Let it dry and cure. Then I'm going to come back with some Mod Podge again and paint over it. I don't know. If it works, I'll stage it in with my little cookie scene here and take a picture for you guys. Does that sound good? I think it's going to look really cute. I would do more, but I was just like, I've never done that before. I didn't want to risk it. You know, it was like, oh, if it works, I'll make another little batch of them. These would make super duper cute Christmas tree ornaments. Yeah, just use a little skewer or a toothpick and make a little hole in one of the top corners, and you could thread some twine or some jute string on there. Yeah, I can't tilt this too much because that paint is still a little puddle in there, but that's going to look really cute. And once that dries, I'll seal it, and that cinnamon will kind of just blend right in. Right now it looks a little white in color as well because my Mod Podge is still wet, so we'll see. How about hot glue, then let dry and paint? Yes, you could totally do that too. You could totally do that too. I had some leftover paint right here, and I thought I probably just need to go ahead and use it up. And plus the color is going to go ahead and kind of coordinate with the colors of my little milk jar. Oh gosh, you guys. Oh goodness. Thank you all so much for being here today. I know we've got things going on. I think, we're all busy right now, but I think this little project is something cute that you could whip together over the weekend. And everything in here we made today, and on our last video, that little milk jar is the star of the show right now. And our little primitive little candle lamp made out of a pickle jar, you guys, and a Starbucks jar. And we just made some those cinnamon ornaments, and it smells amazing. It smells amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Miss Joy and Debbie. You're welcome. I'm so glad y'all were here. Listen, you all have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving tomorrow. I do hope to be back on again sometime. I just don't know exactly when. It may be the weekend before I'm back on, but we'll see. I will post it in my stories, and I always post it on my page. And then I also share it onto my Telegram notification channel as well. So, in all the places, hopefully you'll catch it if I'm coming back on. Thank you all so much. I will talk to you soon. I got to go clean these hands. Have a wonderful day.